KFC may rock enough. Wow. Right here, our hometown, New Lamka. Wow. Now let us go to Lamka College for seminar paper presentation. Yes, we are almost reached. We are almost Christmas season. Second hand, all everywhere. We are turning right. Okay, let's turn right too.
Not right, left.
This is okay, left way. This is the way to Lamka College. Here we are going to this in the back. Okay. Silang hingi kaloy pao. Qua ống talo. Kaloy pao các cô lớn vui trẻ. Mà hồ làm chuyện. Lamka College. Ý how they do it. Lamka College. Wall hay mà cái sa Lamka College paper. Okay, we are free. Lamka College. This is Lamka College.
Ladies College.
Yeah.
Welcome and participate in the 3-day national seminar. Here we are.
Selain itu, blok ya. Selain itu blok ya. Daddy is here. Daddy is here.
I'm not here.
Wow.
My daddy is there.
A very good afternoon to each and everyone gathered here. First of all, I extend warmful greetings to and respect goes out to the organizing committee of Lamka College and our chief guest and all the VIPs for today. And secondly, as a research scholar, in which I am also one of the distinguished students from Manipur University, and I have migrated to Mizoram University in the year 2024. It is a great privilege to have opportunity given by our own local college in Lamka, and I'm indebted and thankful to Lamka College for giving a scholar like us to present ahead.
So my message to you is social media is a powerful tool, but at the same time, you give power with great responsibility. So use power with responsibility, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Sharma, for giving us a powerful presentation. As we said, ICT, or what we call social media, is a powerful weapon, like a double-edged sword. So you and I need to be very careful in using it. It can be both ways. Okay? It can be promoting peace and stability at the same time. It can bring disability, conflicts, disputes. So
French philosopher Alexis Tocqueville, he said that democracy is the dictatorship of the majority. So what we are actually facing here in Manipur and most of the northeast today, the policies implemented to us is actually the policies driven, the policies framed by the majority towards us, the minorities and the indigenous. Yes, our constitution has granted each and every human being in India the right to live, the right to express, the right to voice our opinion. But sadly, when it comes to reality, most of our rights just goes away into thin air. Maybe because number one, we are not aware. Number two, we don't have the guts to speak out. Number three, we don't have the moral support, to raise our opinion together as a team or as a community. What Sir has said is, even for the indigenous, you and I as indigenous tribal living here in the Northeast, we do have our rights. What if the FMR is scrapped totally? The protests that has been witnessed by many of us, not only in Manipur, but as I've already pointed out in my presentation, not only the tribals of Manipur are against this FMR. The other tribal bodies from Mizoram, from Nagaland have also raised here concerned against the complete scrapping of this FMR. If the FMR is completely scrapped, just a hypothetical kind of a statement, if the FMR is completely scrapped, then somebody in one of our group has commented, India's Act East policy completely failed, will completely fail, So like, another version of it would be, the Act East policy, if it fails, then India as a nation, as a developing nation, or as an upcoming superpower, will completely fail in building up strong relationship with its neighboring countries. That is my first comment, sir. And what was your second question? I forgot. Can we go up to the United Nations, at the level of the United Nations? I think a question of raising our identity as an indigenous, every community or every indigenous societies, we have a right at the United Nations to raise our voice. I'm sure even during this conflict, many of our bodies have gone up to the UN to raise our issue, even at the UN level. I don't know how much progress it has been made, but definitely we can be a pressure group. We can be a pressure group, pressure the United Nations, raise our concerns that we are an indigenous community and our existence also do matter, even if we belong to a very tiny state of Manipur. Our existence and our lives do really matter. I think that is all I can comment, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions, please?
I think they are in a cooperation to scrap this. If so, they are going to carry out by no means. Then on the other hand, the local people has to be pleased with it. So what, as a scholar, is your other alternative other than this FMI, like ILP study, where the people can also come and go out through the permission. So the land, the people culturally cannot be disturbed. So 50-50 bonus point for both the government of India, government of Manipur, and the local people here. So as a scholar, what is your alternative? If you have any alternative for this FMI.
Thank you so much. It shows that we all are very much interested in this FMR issue. Somehow, directly, indirectly, it will affect our life, it will affect everyone. My opinion regarding this will be very firm or very strong, since I'm free to express my opinion as well. The other alternative, if FMR is scrapped, like what our presenters, Dr. Sultan had said, the boundaries needs to be redrawn. If that alternative is presented to us, I'm sure that most of our tribal buddies, most of our leaders would really agree. If boundaries are redrawn, for example.
Oh, well done, Lamka College. How is?
Video Hi. Thank you, Lamka College. Sir Daniel.
Lamka College, well done. Refreshment.
Refreshment.
India and Myanmar. Interestingly, some houses in this website are fully lit housing units, including the house of the king of Bhutan. The residents of this village are based in the Philippines. People of this village have the freedom to move in and out between India and Myanmar without any restriction. This village is also home to the Konyak Naga tribe and offers a unique opportunity to meet some of the world's last generation of cattle headhunters, who were once very fierce before headhunting was banned in India in the 1960s. This is Lamka village in the Mon district of Nagaland. Share this with someone with whom you would love to experience this unique Konyak village. More details are mentioned in the caption, and if you like what you see, then hit on that follow button.
Thank you. In the next slide, we have one monolith erected at Pokhara, Eco. It was erected in commemoration of the Mao's Union Stadium 83rd anniversary conference in 2016. The monolith was erected in Nagaland side of the boundary, whereas the administration is from Manipur. That shows I have to depict, it is not only the international boundary, but the state boundary and district boundary itself cut across community and ethnic lines. Now coming to my presentation. It is said that geographers set the stage where political science play the drama and historian records the events. And geography as a subject may be new and one of the youngest subjects perhaps, But the context of geography is as old as the creation of the earth, as we have seen in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. History and geography define the operation of power, not only its range, but also the capacity to plan and the ability to implement. The first sentence defines briefly what is all about geopolitics. It is planning your policy, your strategy based on the geographical setting. The study of power in time and space, and more specifically foreign policy and military action, is therefore an important element in the understanding of international relations, military history, and the development of states and the state systems. Our attempts to understand the geopolitics of conflicts and conflict resolution in Northeast India no doubt require an understanding of the geographical and historical realities at play in different points of time. The term geopolitics was first coined by Swedish political scientist Rudolf Kletzen in early 20th century in his book State as a Living Organism. I think most of you must have read about Darwin's theory of state, in which he says that every state is like an organism. Likewise, the term geopolitics emerged out of that concept, considering a country or state as an organism, in which there is always a conflict of interest in the frontier or border areas. Every state is trying to adhere for their survival and expansions. Geographical organism, emphasizing the influence of geographical factors on political entities and international relations. Some people say that geopolitics is foreign policy plus geography. Okay, so it has many things to do with politics. Geopolitics refers to the study of how geographical factors such as location, natural resources, physical terrains influence global politics, power dynamics, and international relations. It combines elements of geography, history, political science, economics, and to understand the nations' interaction, compete, and adhere influence over territories. So geopolitics, therefore, is a very dynamic and multifaceted task. It evolves with the changing global circumstances, making it critical for understanding international relations and global challenges. So, to put it simply, what has happened in the Middle East, what is happening in the Middle East, what is happening in the Northeast, what is happening in China, what is happening in America, all that happenings, political happenings, based on the geography of that areas or country, is what we call geopolitics. There are certain concepts of geopolitics. We sometimes call it as theory of geopolitics. The classical geopolitics are mainly Mackinder's idea of heartland theory and Spikeman concepts of rimland. If you look at this, it's not okay. Can't see my book. It's okay. It's here only. It's visible only on the text. Anyway, here we have Mackinder's theory का heartland theory के चीज़, Spikeman का rimland. The red portion is the heartland or land over, and immediately to get the blue spot are rimland. Spikeman emphasis on the rimland, whereas Mackinder emphasis on heartland. In 1904, in his first concept, Mackinder called it pivot, world pivot. Why this geography, this physical setting of the world is so important in foreign policy as well as military strategy. Mackinder says that he who controls Eastern Europe rules the heartland. He who rules the heartland rules the whole island. And he who rules the whole island rules the world. I don't know whether you get my point or not. Those who rule the heartland, that is the red portion, will rule the blue portion. Those who rule the blue portion will rule the peripheral areas and ultimately rule the world. Now, this policy convinced many nations, especially the British foreign policy, as well as American policy. You can easily connect this policy, this idea, concept, with what is happening in the Middle East today. He who controls Eastern Europe, the land portion, will control the peripheral areas, and who control the peripheral areas will control the world. Now, there are many things to talk about this theory, but that theory is not a part of, very much a part of the context. Now, next. Let us quickly come to the 21st century geopolitics. You know, Macintyre's concept or geopolitical concept is said to convince at the different countries' foreign policy for over 3 decades. And in the 21st century, we now experience a multipolar groupings, and that has quickly shifted to a space war, information technology. So global geopolitics is today at a pivotal moment, facing the highest number of military conflicts since the Cold War, and it seems we enter the new era of Cold War II. In view, considering the fact that the war between Russia and Ukraine is still going on, and Israel-Hamas conflict in the Middle East, as well as the fall of Syrian regime, all this indicates that perhaps we are entering another era of Cold War II. The next level is believed to be a fight or competition between America and the dragon bear, that is China. The picture that I have shown here indicates how the sky is important in military planning and strategy. If we can remain what Macintyre said, we can say that the country that controls the sky will control the world. All right. The latest technology used by Israel in attacking those Hamas leaders and Hezbollah leaders is amazing. Nobody can imagine why these things happen. But it is the use of technology. Okay. Now, next. If China and US is going to be the next key player in the global politics, how China prepared itself to be the leader? You can see this. China come up with what it is called Belt and Road Initiative. They try to revive the old Silk Route connecting the east from the west of Asia and Europe. Okay? They already connected Tehran, China with Tehran by rail. They also come up with Corpus Gateway. They already connected Moscow and Kazan with a high-speed railway. And they also connected China and Pakistan, built a highway on that. And if you look at this thing, and get paid with your visualize it by rim lanes and half lane theory of Pigment and Macintyre, China is trying to occupy and control the heartland areas. And in fact, they are gradually successful in that. They have already connected themselves with 60 countries whose population is 4.4 billion, and that is half the population of the world. That is why China is gradually controlling the global market. Once they control the global market, the next is military. Okay? That is the strategy they are employing. And if you look at this, I don't know whether it is visible from your point or not. The blue line is the sea route. That is encircling India, and the red one is the new Silk Route, that is roadways or railways. Now there is a talk about China establishing their military base in Coco Island of the Bay of Bengal. That is why, based on that, they can easily set up the sea route passing through the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea and entering the Middle East. Okay? And recently, when the Sheikh Hasina regime falls, Sheikh Hasina openly said that I'm pressured by America to give permission to establish their military base somewhere in Bangladesh. You have read it? So the geopolitics is very much interplay even in the Indian subcontinent. Okay, and many people have linked the conflict in Manipur with the global politics, global geopolitics, and those narratives are having a lot of reasons. Okay, a lot of reasons. We may say that it is a very localized ethnic conflict, but looking at the global strategy and geopolitics, it is not a localized ethnic conflict that we have to learn. Okay, in the next slide, let's come to the geostrategic importance of Northeastern region. Now, if global politics is such that, what is our position? What is our state? What is our resources? Why Northeast is so unstable? What are the reasons and what are the factors? Northeast India holds immense geostrategic importance for India due to its location, resources, and role as a gateway to Southeast Asia. This region, often referred to as the land of Seven Sisters and Sikkim, acts as a bridge between mainland India and its eastern neighbor. So geostrategic location is one of the first important, its location itself is one of the most important factor of Northeast region, which is becoming very sensitive, as well as it is very important in the foreign policy of China as well as India. Okay, the British India have, before they left our regions, have a plan. Historians of our historian may know about details about it. There is what we call Cochrane plan. British said these tribal areas, let's manage them directly from the British, maintaining them as a British colony. But that plan was not accepted. But the plan was there. The fact that they have that plan have a lot of strategic, military, and administrative reasons. Now, the international borders and the existence of Chicken Neck Corridor, which is just about 22 kilometers wide, and the gateway and the entire Northeast, being the gateway to Southeast Asia, is a very important factors for the regions. Next is natural resources. When you say geostrategic importance of the region, we can never ignore about the natural resources of the regions. We have rich mineral resources, hydropower potential, biodiversity. Now, when I was in JNU doing my MA, one of our geologist teachers says, you come from Manipur? Yes, sir. Have you visited the that river? I said, no, sir. He said, I was one of the persons sent by the government of India to survey the possibility of establishing hydroelectric dam in Tipaimu. You know what he said? If dam is constructed there, it will generate the highest power in Asian continent. The capacity is so high that it can export the power it generates to other countries also. That is what he told. He was a geologist. We are not aware of the resources that we have, but people know. And mineral resources, they are oil, exploration, surveying, it's already conducted, it is confirmed that they are oil. Those people who come and survey about the gas and oil resources in our areas, you know what they say? Once we start digging in these areas, dig volume will decrease. Because all this goes in the same line. Okay? But in terms of biodiversity, we have one of the richest biodiversity in the world. In fact, our forefathers survived with those medicinal plants. Before we know about all these medicines that we know today. There are so many medicinal plants that are yet to be developed. Likewise, in terms of defense and security, border management, insurgency and instability or stability, and Myanmar border, all these are another factors that comes into play when we look Northeast in terms of geopolitics and geostrategy. Another important factors is the connectivity and economic integration of Northeast, where we have the Act East policy. Before that, we have Look East policy. Then cultural and ethnic linkage that we have across the border in every section of the boundary, and also countering regional rivalries, especially Chinese influence. And I'm not going into details about this next. Geopolitics of conflicts in Northeast. Geopolitics, what are the factors? There are many factors. But as a geographer, when we looked in terms of geopolitics and geostrategy, these are some of the issues. Geopolitics of conflicts in Northeast is shaped by its strategic locations, ethnic diversity, and historical tensions and external influence. These are the 3 or 4 main factors which leads to conflicts in Northeast. And these regions' unique geography and socio-political landscape create a nexus of internal and external factors that fuel and complicate the conflicts. Now we know, after 1961 Indo-China War, China changed its policy against India, especially Northeast, and started supporting various insurgency groups from Northeast, including MNL, NMC, Naga, and also the Meitei insurgencies like PLA. In fact, PLA shared the same ideology with the PLA of China. That is why China have slowly and steadily expanded their strategic policy and without stopping their claim over Arunachal Pradesh. Okay. In fact, for those of us who have been going outside Delhi University or Hyderabad or any other places, other than Northeast, you must have experienced that they'll never stop calling us Chinky because we look like the Chinese. Okay? The conflict that we face in Manipur, the positive side is that they realize that Manipur exists there. They realize that we are there, and they realize that people realize that Meiteis and we are different. Okay? Those are the positive side of it. Now, ethnic diversity and territorial claims created ethnic tensions and a huge competition for territorial claims. These are very common, and the route to integration to the Indian mainstream, nations and identity politics, and economics and infrastructure development. If the strategic way that I show you depicts how important the region is. Next. Now, policy for conflict resolution. What are the government's policies for resolving the various conflicts that we face in Northeast? Government of India's policy for conflict resolution in Northeast is multifaceted, addressing political, social, economic, and security dimensions. The approach aims to integrate the region with the national mainstream while respecting its unique ethnic, cultural, and geographical diversity. See, the theme of our seminar is national integration. The national integration, the process of national integration in Northeast is yet to complete. I believe not even 50% of that is completed. We are still in the process of that national integration or nation building. But the government of India, knowing the ground reality, evolved certain policies which are specific to the Northeastern region, which will be acceptable to the people and the region. Based on the policy that was followed by the British, they modified a little and will follow that, so that we can all be Indians. Okay, that is what happened. What is happening? Then a political and constitutional solution was adopted by giving certain political autonomy provisions to Northeastern regions. You know, Article 372C for in the case of Manipur. They also attempted to subside the armed conflict or anti-India armed movement by coming out with peace accords like Shillong Accord in 1975 with NMC, Mizoram Peace Accord with MNF in 1986, and the Framework Agreement with IM, Faction of NSCN in 2005, and the ongoing and try to bring insurgent groups into the democratic form. They also, after using ceasefire term with Naga, the second thing they do is to use the SHU, suspension of operation, because ceasefire indicates two independent entities making an agreement. That is why Naga boldly claimed a separate flag and constitution, because the term ceasefire itself indicates two separate independent entities. So after that they use SHU. Through SHU, most of our armed groups are under SHU. Then the next what they do is surrender first, then we will talk with you. That is next. Okay. So government tried to subside different armed conflict or community-based movement by negotiating with them. And side by side, they also conducted counter-insurgency operations, tried to strengthen border security, and also strengthen inter-regional connectivity. Now, you know this way, Kaladan multi-modal transport project. This is a very important strategic project of the government of India that will touch our areas. It will be connecting Kolkata via Hooghly River with Sidway, and it will move to south part of Mizoram, passing through Kaletue, enter Zongripui, and pass through Longnai district and Aizawl. The beauty of this is that it will cut at least, it is believed that it will cut at least 50% of transport costs in Northeast India. It will enhance 70% of the volume of transport, that is transport by road in the entire Northeast region, and this will be only 539 kilometers from Hooghly to Situri Port. Now, mind you, in the latest conflict in Burma, you must have seen that news clip in the newspaper wherein AA, Arakan Army, have full control of Kaletwa areas, and what they declare after that, they say that they will give free hand to the government of India to construct this road. And the security advisor, Ajit Doval, is believed to go to China, talk to the president of China, and get a signal for this. That is what they claim. Okay? And it is correctly said that the enemy, in times of war, the enemies of your enemy is your friend. China and America being an enemy, India makes friends with China to construct this without any problems, containing Arakan army. And this road will not stop in Aizawl. It will pass through our areas, borderline, with 4 lanes. The National Highway 102B is 2 lanes. Once this road passes through our areas, it will be 4 lanes. That is the project, a strategic project of the government of India. In addition to this, the government of India also has come out with many other projects and schemes. You must have read about this, Reconnecting Northeast Vision, both by sea, air, and train. And I think most of you must have read about the Northeast Vision 2020, Northeast Vision 2020, in which the Ministry of Home Affairs has come out with a very exhaustive plan to develop the entire Northeast region, including infrastructures and connectivity, special development of special economic zones, emphasizing on skill development, cultural preservation and identity recognitions, then community-led development. Many schemes are there in that document. And next. And the way forward, perhaps, is what we are to do. We did a little towards this goal, and I believe we will also contribute to a certain degree in minimizing the conflict, if not resolve the conflict. Addressing the conflict in Northeast requires a comprehensive, inclusive, sustainable strategy. The region's complex socio-political landscape marked by ethnic diversity, historical grievances, and socio-economic disparities demands a multi-pronged approach that balances development, security, and respect for cultural identities. With this, I will conclude my presentation. Thank you.
I would like to say a big thank you to Lamka College, organizing committee, and some of my old friends. It is because of their their friendship, and it is because of their prayer that I am able to stand here today. And even though I regret in the middle of the journey after reaching Guwahati, then after reaching here, I am very happy that I could see many of the troubles which become a narrative for us during this conflict times. I was able to suffer. I was able to see the roads and the way how people are. And I may not be able to do anything to reduce their suffering, but I think this will motivate me. And yes, not only motivation, but also yes, it has given me a new lease of knowing our society and understanding our society better. So yes, there must be a lot of opinions when it comes to organizing this seminar, but I came across one incident which I want to share with all of you. This happened during the time of Buddha. So yes, there was a war between two kingdoms during the time of Buddha, and Buddha was approached by one group, asking him how to defeat the other group. And this is their conversation, which I want to highlight to each and every one. Trying to give you the message once again that in these times of conflict, in times of war, there is nothing better than coming together and discussing our ideas. So here is an episode. This is a conversation between Buddha and one of his disciples, Ananda. It was said that yes, he joined Buddhism, he became a monk, he became the personal secretary of Buddha, and then he was the one who influenced Buddha to open a new department for women monks. So until then there were monks within the Buddhism, but women were not allowed to become a monk. But after Ananda, yes, the story says that he convinced Buddha to allow women in Buddhism also to become monks. And here is the conversation. Yes, this particular script is written in Mahaparinibbana Sutta. This is a Pali book. Pali, it is basically, we are talking about Buddhist literature. When the Buddha was approached by Vasakara the Brahmana, the envoy of King Ajastru. Now, this envoy from the kingdom of Ajastru asked Buddha how to defeat Vazis. So Ajastra and Vazis are different kingdoms, and here the king of Ajastra sent one of his commanders to go and ask Buddha how to defeat Vazis. Now this is the story. So this messenger came and asked Buddha how to defeat Vazis, and Buddha answered the question through his conversation with Ananda. Alright, I hope I'm clear with that short. Have you heard, Ananda, that Vazis hold full and frequent public assemblies? Lord, so I have heard, replied he. So long, Ananda, as the Fijians hold these full and frequent public assemblies, so long may they be expected not to decline but to prosper. So long, Ananda, as the Fijians meet together in unity, rise in concord and carry out their undertakings in unity, so long as they enact nothing not already established, abrogate nothing that has been already enacted, and act in accordance with the ancient institutions of the Fijians as established in former days. Yes, the paragraph is a little bit longer. There is story here. So long as they honor and esteem and give birth with respect and support the Fijian elders, and hold it as hold it a point of duty to hearken to their words, so long as no women and girls belonging to their clans are detained among them by force or abduction, so long as they honor and esteem and give birth and support the Fijian shrines and temples and churches, in town or in country, and allow not the proper offerings and rites and ask formally given and performed to fall into destitute, so long as the rightful protection, defense and support shall be fully provided for the Arahats. Arahats are supposed to be holy people, pious people within the Buddhism, like people who have already received Nirvana. And support and shall be fully provided to the Arahats among them, so that Arahats from a distance may enter the kingdom, and the Arahats there may live at age. So long may the Fijians be expected not to decline, but to prosper. So this was the message given by Buddha before 2000 years ago to those who want to know why small kingdoms and small communities yes, how they will survive. So this, I think, is very relevant for us today after 2000 years, because yes, other organizations threaten to, eliminate us from this planet. And I think, yes, to survive together or to persist on this part of the planet, we have to come back once again and give a deeper thought to the wisdoms given to us by Buddha 2000 years before. So yes, as a point of reflection, yes, I want all of us to think deeply on the message given to us by Buddha 2000 years back. Now, yes, I have just very minimal, and people have come up with sophisticated ideas into yes, almost encompassing almost.
Next, Dr. Sondang Haukip. Next is Sir Lamka. Next, Miss Jadi Suatu Ciptohe. Next, Miss Mary Saidi Amwatsi. Next, Madam Nancy is okay for me. Thank you, Madam. Please sit. This 3-day seminar, we have so many participants from students from different institutions and also participants from colleges. So we are very happy. And due to shortage of time, because we will be having some more time afterwards meeting, the staff meetings will be there, and there's so many other meeting arrangements going on. So it is my policy that for participants we cannot give out a certificate here, but you after this valedictory session, please collect your certificate from the reception. Okay, and that certificate, please keep in mind that those who have done registration online, export registrations were clearly listed out in the list. In case if your name is not there in the list, don't worry, you'll be getting certificate. If not today, afterwards. Okay.
Stand. Thank you, Madam Nancy, for giving me the time to stand before such an august gathering. Respected Principal, Vice Principal Sir, esteemed inviters, erudite scholars, intellectuals, experienced journalists, researchers, representatives of various INPs, social activists, workers, student unions and their representatives, colleagues and students, a very good afternoon to everyone. Or, if we look out, it's closer to a very good evening as well. It is an honor to stand before you to present a report on the 3-day national seminar on national integration, peace and stability in Northeast India, sponsored by Northeastern Council, Ministry of Development of Northeast Region, Government of India, and organized by Lamka College from the 16th of December to the 18th of December 2024. The 3-day national seminar has a total of 5 technical sessions, 16 resource persons, keeping in mind one paper was co-authored, and more than 300 participants counting from day 1. Now, before I go ahead with the report, firstly, I would like to apologize to all the paper presenters that I am
compelled to condense so many valid points, important points you have made due to the shortage of time, and for that, I ask humble apology. But I do assure you that when report is being made on this seminar, full justice will be done to your paper by the organizers. The inaugural function of the National Seminar commenced at 10:15 on the 16th of December 2024 at Multipurpose Hall, Lamka College. The session was presided over by Ms. Mary Sainelam Bonsing, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Lamka College. The program began with a formal welcome address by Mr. Kev Zamoy, Vice Principal, Convener of Organizing Committee, Lamka College. Gifts were presented to the chief guest and other dignitaries as a gesture of appreciation by the organizing committee. This was followed by the inauguration of the seminar by the representative of the invited chief guest. The key and Reverend Dr. Kempi Dombing, Principal, Raven College, prayed for the success of the seminar and the college as well. The keynote address was delivered by Madam Principal, Lamka College, who provided an academic perspective on the historical, socio-political, and cultural dynamics of the region, underscoring the importance of dialogue and collaboration among diverse communities. The representatives of chief guest in his inaugural address emphasized the critical role of inclusive development and cultural harmony in fostering peace in the region. This was followed by cultural dance by YPA Kersamun Cultural Troupe, showcasing the diverse heritage of the region. Dr. Sonton Hauke, Assistant Professor, Department of History, as well as the Secretary of Research and Faculty Development Committee, Lamka College, introduced the resource person for the first technical session. The inaugural session ended with a vote of thanks by Dr. Estiano Mangaite, the coordinator of this seminar. Now to come to the first technical session of day 1. The first technical session was chaired by Mr. Kamutin Seitotong, Assistant Professor, Department of History, Lamka College. The first paper was delivered by Mr. Peter Paukenpu, Research Scholar, Department of Political Science, on understanding the question of internal migration of the Kupis within Manipur, highlighting the significant factors for such internal migrations, such as the impact of the Naga's Greater Nagari movement, as well as the impact of the Indian government's counterinsurgency operation against the valley-based insurgents, thereby forcing the Kupis to migrate from rural to the urban centers, and the Kupis' aversion to despotic chieftainship, as well as the socio-economic factor of urban areas. Second paper, titled Unity in Diversity as a Guiding Principle to National Integration, with special reference to Northeast India, was delivered by Mr. Pamwatan, Research Scholar, Department of Political Science, MZU, and Professor Zangkam Dongel, Professor, Department of Political Science, Mizoram University. Mr. Pamwatan spoke on the significance of the principle of unity in diversity in different periods and highlights the status of unity in diversity in such a diverse region in the northeastern states. The final paper for the day was presented by Dr. L. Dineilam, titled Peace Building Initiative of Kukizo Women in the Ethnic Conflict in Manipur, a case study of Zamnatok. The presenter spoke on the role of Kukizo women as harbingers of peace and healing, the practice and impact of peace building through Zamnatok, a community-based rehabilitation strategy by giving one side equal, as well as a memento to the martyr families affected by the Manipur situation since the 3rd of May 2023. Day 2nd, Technical Session 1, was chaired by Mr. Kangkalan Naike, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Lamka College. The first paper was delivered by Professor Kamkan Swan Housing, Professor, Department of Political Science, University of Hyderabad. In his paper, the professor highlighted how ethnic security dilemma perpetuates instability and disorders in Northeast India, examining the recent 3rd of May occurrence 2023 to demonstrate the partisan and the complicit role of the state in caving into powerful societal forces, which has far-reaching implications in peace building. Building legitimacy and trust in state institutions are critical to ensuring durable peace in Northeast India. Second paper delivered by Dr. Lianboy Vaiping, Associate Professor, Department of Political Science, Indraprastha College, University of Delhi, titled Weaving Through the Process of Peace Building by Naga Mothers Association in Northeast India. She spoke on the birthing of the Naga Mothers Association in the year 1979, that is through the consciousness of the Naga mothers to articulate their pain. She also emphasized on post-traumatic stress disorder of victims and the caregiver of victims as well. The paper by Dr. Lianboy deeply echoes the previous paper presented by Dr. Dineilam. Both of them spoke on women as symbol of peace or as a symbol of positivity in times of conflict and warfare. She concludes by calling upon the audience to re-introspect on the
values of our Qingtanglu and our cultural practices such as Siagat, similar to Ubuntu practiced by the Zulu tribe in Africa. The last paper of this technical session was presented by Dr. Lamka, Assistant Professor, Department of History, Metropolitan College, Delhi University, titled Historical Influences on Current Dynamics. He spoke on the historical influences, the different phases in history which are directly or indirectly connected to the present situation, and the need to rectify and correct this in order to put an end to the spread of the false narrative. Now coming to that technical session, the second technical session of day 2, chaired by Dr. S. Tangboizo. The first paper for this technical session was delivered by Hoinu Hazel, noted journalist, researchers, as well as writer, titled Media Representation of Ethnic Minorities in India, a Critical Analysis. In this paper, he highlighted the powerful role played by the media. She further stressed on the importance of media representation, and she used the current example in Manipur, the disparity between the media representation of the valley as well as the hill. She also cautioned on the damaging effect of media stereotypes, imaginary framing, labels, and tags, which often leads to discrimination. She concludes by stressing on the importance of engaging with stakeholders, however, mindful that any action should not be construed as against the national interest. Second paper for this technical session was delivered by Vanul Madadarlong, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Tripura University, titled Ethnic Conflict in Tripura, the Political Paradigm. In his paper, he spoke on the primordial and constructivist approach in the study of ethnicity, using the ethnic conflict in Tripura as an opportunity to understand the role of the state and political parties in the genesis, the growth, and continuation of ethnic conflict tensions in the state. Last paper for the day was delivered by Dr. Kapur Baibe, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy, Manipur University, on the topic Village Tourism, Sustainable Livelihood Opportunity for the Tribals in Manipur. He spoke on how tribals in Manipur can commercialize on village tourism, giving tourists the opportunity to either stay near the village or within the village itself and learn and experience the culture and traditions of the tribe, be it our way of life, our food preparations, our crafts, and our festival. He highlighted the advantage of village tourism, especially for financially poor tribals, as village tourism requires zero investment, quite cost effective, promotes our own culture, our handicraft, even our healing practices as well, sustainable in the nature as it is viable, and it is mainly concerned with activities in nature, and it also contributes to the GDP as well. So the second technical session concluded by the Vice Principal presenting certificate to the chairperson of the session. Now coming to the last day, day 3, technical session presided over by David L. Mutrao, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Lamka College. The first presenter of the day, Dr. Neneng Kim, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Lamka College, delivered a paper on navigating the free movement regime, issues that implication in Northeast India. The paper explores the complex relationship between India and Myanmar, focusing on the recent scraping of the free movement regime along their shared borders. The paper examines the historical context, the rationale and implication of the decision, highlighting the diverse perspective of stakeholders in the region. Second paper, titled Boundary Disputes in the Northeast, a Colonial Legacy, was delivered by Dr. Sondran Haukip, Assistant Professor, Department of History, Lamka College. And in his paper, he highlights that the mistake done by the colonial government with regards to boundary demarcation is one of the resultants of much of the problem faced by the northeastern states. He concludes his paper by stating that permanence of peace will be possible only, and that too only if either the past is rectified or done away with in totality, or there is a whole new mapping. Third paper of the day, titled National Integration, the Role and Impact of Social Media in Northeast India, was delivered by Pauso Mang YP, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Lamka College. In his paper, he explores how social media affects national integration, analyzing its role in fostering communication, understanding, and social cohesion, as well as the challenges it poses in terms of misinformation, polarization, and the spread of hate speech. Now coming to the second technical session of the day, chaired by Madam Kyang Biak-sam, Assistant Professor, Department of Education, Lamka College. First paper presented by Sir K. Vuzamoy, Associate Professor, Department of Geography, Lamka College, titled Geopolitics of Conflicts and Conflict Resolutions in Northeast India. In this paper, he emphasized emphasized on the importance of the understanding of geography and historical realities in order to understand the conflicts of the geopolitical conflicts and conflict resolutions in Northeast India. The geopolitics of conflicts in Northeast India is shaped by its strategic location, ethnic diversity, historical tension, and external influences. Hence, the policy for conflict resolutions requires political and constitutional solutions, peace accords, etc. Second paper, titled Understanding Ethnic Political Cultures Through Narrative Warfare and Beyond, delivered by Dr. Michael Wilmington, discusses how the utility of culture connects the ethnic identity and understanding of politics using narratives through social media mediums. The last and final paper of the seminar was delivered by Dr. S. Thanamwan Naite, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, Lamka College, titled The Need for National Integration, a Perspective. Dr. S. Thanamwan Naite shares his perspective on the need for national integration for the progress and stability of any nation, especially one as diverse as our country, India. With that, we have the report of the paper presented by all 16 of the resource persons. Each session was followed by riveting Q&A, and for that, we thank the participants for your active participation and active listening of the seminar. To conclude, this seminar was indeed a memorable event, and I sincerely acknowledge the hard work and effort of the organizers, the institutions, the concerned persons, as well as the contribution of the erudite resource person. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Seminar kitain 3-day seminar kitain to hi certificate kila phare hi nahi le mi jo sin lang kile ta bye bye